What we've been taught and told is not all there is. Life is all about energy, and the energy you feel is real. Tune into the energy paradigm each month on transformationtalkradio.com with Dr. Vic. The energy paradigm is an eye-opening, mind-shifting, transformative, and earth-shattering way to live, work, and do business that will enable you to unlock your magic every day. Visit theenergyparadigm.com.
Did you know that all of the shows on the Transformation Radio Network are available as podcasts to stream or download?
Really?
Check us out. Go to transformationradio.fm. We have business shows, spiritual shows, energy healing shows, and pretty much everything in between. Something for everyone, guaranteed to inspire, educate, and transform. We are transforming the world, one listener at a time.
What we've been taught and told is not all there is. Life is all about energy, and the energy you feel is real. Welcome to the Energy Paradigm with me, Dr. Vic, Porak, Varna. Let's take a deep dive to the energetic core of life, work, business, politics, and education. This show questions everything we've been taught and told. It is eye-opening, mind-shifting, transformative, and earth-shattering. So get ready to ignite the spark. Feel the energy and work the magic. The Energy Paradigm with me, Dr. Vic, starts now.
Hey, everybody, welcome. Yep, we are ready, fired up to do another show on the Energy Paradigm. You know, joining me here today in the show is the man who literally has created this idea of an energy paradigm. First of all, we're living in a time where we now can resonate with the idea of energy in multiple ways. We can resonate with it in our bodies. We resonate with it when we go to a board meeting or a meeting, or we're customer service representatives and we could feel the energy of something. But what if there was a way to talk about it that both linked the science of it with the humanity of us? That's what Dr. Vic is bringing to the forefront. That's what this show is about. But what is it about Dr. Vic and what he's created that not only taps into the multiple layers of energy, but what is it about the tone? Tone. Does tone define who we are? Does tone look at how we show up in the world? Does tone represent different things in different cultures? Well, today we're going to talk about how your vibration is. Is it in resonance? What are we radiating? Are we in friction and or flow? Dr. Vic, you know, every culture is different when it comes to tone, but when you look at the energy paradigm, you take that into consideration. What does tone mean? And welcome today. It's a big conversation given the times we're living in.
Absolutely, Dr. Patton. It's so great to be back and to see you again. What's in a tone? I think that is a really important question that we need to ask ourselves, because when I talk about tone, I go far beyond the tone of the voice. Because normally when we talk about tone, it is, you know, is this person friendly? Is this person not friendly? Are they commanding? Are they demanding? Maybe even pushy or acquiescing? And I think when we talk about the energy paradigm, the tone gets a wider meaning, because the tone is not how we talk. It's only a little bit of it, but the tone is how we show up. And how we show up, what I mean with that, we all have an electromagnetic field around us. And that electromagnetic field has two components to it. One component you can call energy or light, if you want to get a little bit woo-woo. It's a light emittance, and that actually has been scientifically proven. The cells in our body communicate with light, and they emit light. And so even if this sounds very weird, but you might actually have noticed that sometimes when you are out and about, you notice somebody. And you don't know what it is about that person, but somehow they attract your attention.
Yeah.
That person is lit up.
Yeah.
They carry an energy with them that resonates with you. So that's the first component. The second component is information. Through that electromagnetic field, something is being communicated. And you can feel that. When somebody is grumpy, you feel that. That person doesn't even need to look at you, doesn't even need to talk to you. You can feel that there's a disturbance in the force, quote unquote, so to say. And especially you feel this if you're not, it takes a certain level of sensitivity to feel this. But I think we all have felt it with people who we are very close to, family members. When mom is angry, everybody's ducking in the house because they know there's trouble on the horizon. There's a big thundercloud somewhere waiting in the kitchen or wherever in the house, and we better tread lightly in order to not set off the lightning. And the interesting thing is, it's not even bound to space or time. When the phone rings and somebody calls you, sometimes
Yeah.
oh, it's my brother calling, it's my sister calling, this is mom, this is dad, or my boss. Yeah, it's this energy that you get then, and oh darn, here we go. I have to take this call. This is important, and probably there's gonna be friction. We are very sensitive to friction in our life, and because it does something to our electromagnetic charge, and I will get there in a minute.
Yeah.
So the question is, how are we charged? How do we show up?
Yeah. And let me ask you, because there are three things you talk about, and I mentioned them earlier: the vibration, the resonance, and the radiance.
Yeah.
And so how do they lead into tone? And let's talk about how they work together to either contribute or not. It's either going to be friction or it's going to be flow, maybe some things in between. But yeah.
Absolutely. So the first thing that we need to be concerned with is, how does it feel here inside? And that is our frequency, that is our vibration. And we have a say in this, but this is what creates what I call the field around us, right? And so how do I show up? It's this hum. There's a certain static that is going on. We are like a radio station, if you want. But we are like a two-way radio. We receive stuff and we send stuff. So what's the hum that we are sending? If I'm fearful, people smell that. It's really weird. And then I get picked on. And we all have probably, at least I experienced that in school. I was fearful and then I get picked on. It's almost like I'm asking for it, right? Or maybe not asking for it, but I'm opening the possibility, the door of possibility for this to happen. Other people smell that, sense that, and then barge right into that door. If the possibility of you being addressed in a condescending tone is not part of the vocabulary of the energy that you're emitting, it's not likely to happen to you. It's a thing that how we are charged is what creates the reality that we are perceiving. So that's the vibration, that's the frequency. Now, the resonance also goes two-way. It's what we resonate with, and that very much depends on what is our mindset, what is our experience, and what are the energies that we keep repeating to ourselves. If you want, it might as well be an imprint in our brains, right? That reinforces certain things that we resonate with. So there are people who react very positively to people who are kind. Why? Because it's part of their makeup. Their energetic makeup, and then there is a co-resonance that works here, and those people will find each other. It's that person that's smiling to you at the restaurant and you smile back. That's how it works. That's this first, where two of the auras, two of the electromagnetic fields start touching each other and checking each other out.
Yeah. Well,
And
I mean, part of this too is, you know, we're learning a lot now because there are two things going on in the world we live in. And one of them is most of us that are on the outside are wearing masks. And I discovered something yesterday exactly aligned with what you're saying. Is Linda and I went for a nice long walk in the neighborhood. Of course, I got lost, believe it or not, in my own neighborhood, Dr. Vic. Yes. But we got lost in a kind of cool way. And we ended up down a very, very steep hill in Bothell. And so as we are coming up the hill, there are other people, and they're coming with dogs and they're coming with kids. And I noticed something really interesting. See, I don't know what's going on in the other parts of the world where there's this antagonistic view on masks, no mask. I mean, clearly people are getting into that. But what I watched was something so gentle and so loving. As people and families were coming our way, our sidewalks are very narrow. Well, we went up a driveway, and these people with their young children were putting on their masks and walking by, and everybody is saying hi to each other. That is an energy. That
absolutely,
is an energy.
yes. And
Yeah.
that energy triggers something in you.
Mm-hmm.
There's a resonance. And if you know that frequency, and if you have in some shape or form the capacity to be in your heart, you will reciprocate from there. Absolutely. Then it radiates back. And energy, I said that before in one of our previous shows,
Yeah.
energy is highly contagious.
Yeah.
And it is our responsibility whether this energy that we are receiving, whether we let this in and whether we allow this energy to infect us, quote unquote, or not.
Mm-hmm.
Because it can also go the other way, right? If somebody is very angry or very abrasive,
Mm-hmm.
that person has the power to mess up our day. And it is our decision, do I want to set an energetic boundary here and not let that energy in, or actually am I opening the door because I don't know that I have a door?
Right. I want to take a short break, Dr. Vic. When we come back, I want to talk about this idea that you've started, tone being on, tone being off, right? What does that mean? And what does it mean to be able to set the tone? What do we need to do to set that tone? Joining us today, for those of you out there, of course, we are talking about the energy paradigm. If you want to find more out about that, go to theenergyparadigm.com. When we come back, is this something we can actually turn on and off? And if it is, then what makes it so difficult for us to do that? Let's take a short break, everybody. We'll be right back.
Are you your story? Or can you change your story? Can you change what you believe to be true about yourself and your circumstances as part of your healing journey? What if you were to change your expectations? What if you were to invite ease and cooperation into every day and then step back and see what happens? It might just be easier. I'm Megan Edge, and I hope that you'll join me on my new radio show, Playing on the Edge, Radical Change with Ease, with my co-host Dr. Pat on Transformation Talk Radio. I look forward to seeing you there.
Want to find out more about Megan Edge? Visit her website at meganedge.ca.
Welcome back, everybody. You're listening to The Energy Paradigm. I'm Dr. Pat. I get to do this fabulous, fabulous show with Dr. Vic. Dr. Vic, we can all go to, let's make sure everybody has information about you. Tell them how they can find information about you, how they can work with you, all of the above.
Happy to do so.
Cool.
So Dr. Victor Porak de Varna, the website is theenergyparadigm.com. You find us also under the energy paradigm on Facebook and on Instagram. And I can even give you our telephone number,
Yes.
70507-1230. That's how you can reach us, and looking forward to talking to you.
Awesome. All right, Dr. Vic, look, this is a body of work that you've been cultivating. This is something you work in organizations, you work with individuals, and it's so relevant to how we live our lives. I mean, it really is, the idea really is this idea between friction and flow. And we now know from flow, we know that is what brings us joy, that there's a comfort, there's an ease, life is so much like the slide and glide of life happens. I want to talk about this idea of tone on and tone off, and how we set the tone. What do we need to do as people to become empowered around that, not feel victimized by it?
Let's start with tone off, because I think we're very familiar with this. Many people experience friction with other people, be it family members, be it colleagues at work, be it people in traffic that you don't even know, right? And especially right now, there's so much friction out there because people are scared. And people pretend to know better than each other, and putting each other off because they don't want to get sick, because they fear for their lives, because they fear for the lives of their children, etc., etc. So I think we're very familiar with friction and what it feels like. And I think when the tone is off, so let's get one step back, because I didn't talk about the radiance. The radiance is what we emit out, and that is through talking, how we speak, how we interact. It is body language. What am I telling you through how I sit in front of you, how I stand in front of you, how I am listening to you. And then there's a third component, how am I acting? What am I doing? Because that's also an energetic language. There's not only a material aspect to it, but there's also an energetic aspect to it. And how am I doing it? How am I moving, right? So those are the things, how we then send our energy out back into the world. It's very interesting. We receive, we send back out. We receive, we send back out. We align or we rub. So when the tone is off, that means that my resonance and the resonance of somebody else I'm rubbing with are not aligned. They rub each other, and that creates some type of dissonance. And dissonance affects us not only energetically, because it reduces our energetic field. And why does it do that? Because we want to be protected. So, right, when I feel safe, my energy field can be big. And that also is reflected in my body language. I can stand straight, I have my head up, I can talk freely. When I'm fearful, I'm shrinking. In physical size, my head goes down, my eyes go down, my voice gets more silent, my energy field shrinks. So what is happening when my energy field shrinks is I feel this dissonance. And when this dissonance happens, it is an unease that happens in my body. And you can feel it in your body in different parts. And I think with feel it, I'm already saying one of the crucial things. Energy is not something that you can think. Energy is something that you feel. It is not rational. So if you try to wrap your mind around it, it doesn't work. You need to allow energy. It's not something that you can grasp, not something that you can see. It's not something that you can smell. It happens, and you need to be open to it. And you feel it, you sense it, you know it. It doesn't have anything to do with a brain thinking type process.
Yeah, somebody gave me a book once, and I can't remember the name of the book, but it was something like Think Your Way to Joy. Mm-hmm. Now, I understand the power of thoughts. Believe me, I do. I understand how they can help me either go down one rabbit hole or another. I get that. But this idea in our society that we have really been implementing for 50, I'd say about 50 years, maybe even longer, is this idea of not feeling.
Yeah.
Or at least if you are feeling, don't share it. And what you're talking about is energy takes on a life of its own. It's like you cannot not feel energy. You see what I mean?
Correct.
Even though we think we don't. We're like thinking, I don't feel this, but the very fact that we're saying, oh, I don't think I feel that, we are feeling something.
And if you feel something, if you are a sensitive person, because that's where highly sensitive people come in, right? They feel it. But as soon either they feel not comfortable sharing the feeling that they have, or when they share it, they get dismissed by others. Oh, you're too sensitive, you're too emotional. It has happened to me on the job. People told me, oh, you're being emotional. And I wasn't fast enough back then. I should have said, absolutely, I'm being emotional, and we need that. You need to feel it, right? But if you don't allow this type of sensitivity in your life, you're leaving a wake of collateral damage behind you because you're trampling over one person after the other, unknowingly. And a lot of this friction that I'm talking about is happening because people don't understand the vocabulary. They don't understand the language of energy. They even dismiss it. So many people dismiss their feelings, and what happens to them is, if you have done this for years and years and years, maybe decades, you are creating so much friction in your body that you become diseased.
Yeah, I think that part of this conversation too for people is that this is going on all the time.
Oh yeah.
This is happening all the time. How many of us, maybe you experience a little bit of that by being sheltering at home. Maybe you're spending more time around your family members, your children, your spouse, your partner, whatever, than you've ever done before. And what Dr. Vic is talking about is, if we can understand at least this one aspect about tone, if we can understand how important that is, then we can literally begin to shift vibration, resonance, and radiance. We can shift on, if I make this change here, maybe I have an end game that's going to change, right? Yeah. And I think that's what we're talking about today, is being able to figure out, right, this is where I am. This is how I'm talking. Am I shaming? Am I blaming? Am I looking at something from a perspective that's all about me and less about the other person? All of these things are energetic, what I like to call they're energetic fuel for what the outcome is going to be.
Yeah.
But you say something that the energy you feel is real.
Absolutely. We are an antenna for energy. And I've said before, it's not a cognitive process. It's not something that you think, ooh, I'm thinking energy right now. No, you feel it. How does feeling happen? It happens through your body. Your body gives you a signal. And that signal needs to be acknowledged, because if you dismiss it, then you're in friction again. Yeah. Inside yourself, you create friction, and that is where friction starts. We all created ourselves because we are dismissing how we feel. Oh, it feels really bad to go into this meeting room, but you know what? I'm going to go in anyways. It's like, hey, I don't want to go to this battlefield, but the bullets are flying, but hey, I'm going to go in anyways because I have to, right? So this type, that might be a little bit of an extreme example, but you know what I'm understanding, right? The house is on fire and I'm running inside instead of outside. It's the energy that we are exposing ourselves to, and we don't know how to handle it. But as soon as I feel something, it is real, it is true, and nobody can tell me, hey, Victor, this is wrong what you're saying, and yet we do it all the time, right? I don't feel good. Oh no, don't say that. I don't want to go to this meeting. Oh, you have to go to this meeting. I'm feeling like this is not the right idea. Yes, it is the right idea. You have to do it. You see how we are, and that can be self-talk, but it can also be a conversation.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I mean, we were watching a show. I saved the show for when Linda come out here to Seattle, and Linda, of course, is the producer of my show and is really the glue for a lot of folks like Dr. Vic. And so I saved up all of these good doctor things, and so we were watching them, and there are two characters in the show that you don't have to talk about how they're attracted to each other. I mean, you could see it's coming, right? And you could hear them talk to each other about, no, we're just friends. I'm a resident. You're the big chief or whatever you are, but we're going bowling. And, so you watch this, and the reason we can relate to this is because this is us. We have been in scenarios where, you can cut the magnetism, between people with a knife. Friction works the same way, but flow works the same way. Yeah. And you can feel it. We're going to take a short break, because when we come back, how do we tap in to knowing the truth of like it is? How do we tap in and knowing that? Where do we step into this energy paradigm and step into the zone or the field of this and know that we have some say in how energy is going to flow through us? May not have a lot to say about the energy that flows through another person, but the power that you have in looking and feeling and taking action about your field, that's what this is going to be about when we come back. The energy you feel is real and sometimes a little surreal. Let's take a short break. We'll be right back.
Hello, I'm Carrie Kadambi, and this is your Spirited Exchange moment. Do you want to be the best you can be? Do you want to live your dream life? Anything is possible when you choose to consciously evolve. Begin by noticing your reaction to things in your everyday life. When a reaction is uncomfortable, this is a sign that there's an inner root cause that has triggered you, and it's calling out to be healed. Take action to transform and heal those limiting beliefs or trauma experiences that no longer serve you. Take time daily to recognize your reactions and then set out to heal and release them using one of many somatic healing modalities available. How will you choose to evolve today? Join me on Transformation Talk Radio for my show, A Spirited Exchange. For more information about me, visit thedivineguidancegift.com.
Welcome back, everyone. Yep, the energy you feel is real. The energy you feel is real. What I love two words. I love to use the word real and surreal. I love the word surreal for a lot of reasons because it has an energy into it. When you say the word surreal, some people may not know exactly what that is, but they get it. When you talk about energy right now, you know how you feel it. Dr. Vic is joining us here today for a lot of reasons, but I want to make sure that you know how to find a lot about Dr. Vic. One of the things you can do is to go to theenergyparadigm.com. Theenergyparadigm.com. You'll be able to find out about the energy paradigm, how you might use it for your organizations. Dr. Victor Porak de Varna, of course, is the CEO of the Energy Paradigm. He's created this radical transformational approach to things. And energy is, everything is energy. The question really is for us, how do we tap into that force? How do we unlock the humanity of us, but also the potentiality of this? Dr. Vic, thank you for bringing this topic. Here's something I want to talk about in talking about the idea of the energy principle and the fact that we may not be able to control the energy that comes at us, right? But we certainly are in charge of all of us. And, you know, somewhere along the journey for me, somebody gave me a book. I've been given books at certain really critical points of my life and my evolution. And I can't remember exactly how far back I was given 2 books, but way back before I even understood energy, consciousness, and I don't know that I still understand it, but before I heard it, right? Mm-hmm. The first book I got was a book called Power versus Force. And then I got another book, and I don't know what the message was that people were trying to tell me, to be honest with you. But the other book I got was a book that I had to read a lot of times because I didn't believe it. I didn't believe Viktor Frankl's book, his story. I didn't understand how he could be the man he was in the horrific scenario of World War II. And I was given that book because there was something I had to learn. And when I think about that, here's the thing, Dr. Vic. I don't think Viktor Frankl, I don't think the people that we can rattle off their names, Steve Jobs, whoever they are, I don't think they're any different than any one of us. But I do think they have really gotten onto something. I think they've gotten onto this energy thing. What do you think?
I think what defines a lot of people that we label as extraordinary or very impactful, they have learned one thing, and that is how to manage their own energy and how to build a field that not only reaches out, but it comes with a message, it comes with an intention, it comes with a will, with willpower, and it comes with a determination that is unshakable. And that is, in a nutshell, what the energy paradigm is trying to convey, is how to get there. Because, you know, there's over the past 40, 50 years, so much has been written and so much has been researched. And I think we understand pretty well what is happening with energy inside our bodies, how is it imprinting on the brain, what is happening to the cells, how do they communicate to each other, how do they lump to each other molecules, and then how we become a whole organism, and how can we relate to other organisms. The big question is the how. How do I go there? How do I charge my field? And a lot of things have been done already, and what the energy paradigm does is almost putting the puzzle together and describing. So for example, we talked about this energy being contagious and what you let into your field. Mm-hmm. It starts with, what do I want? And how do I want to be, and who do I want to be? And what are my values, and where am I drawing a line? Where am I setting my boundaries? Because if you don't understand any of this language and of this vocabulary, you're just wide open and let anything in that is being thrown at you. The person that is yelling at you, you will take it in, and it will mess up your own energy. The person who is not kind, the person who is angry, as I said, it's very contagious. So you need to have some type of protection mechanism out there. Otherwise, you're just like a sponge.
But isn't the opposite also contagious?
Of course.
I mean, isn't the opposite also contagious? I mean, this little walk thing yesterday with me and Linda, and some people believe I live in a pretty conservative area. I don't know. I mean, I don't know whether Bothell, Washington is considered that or not. But we noticed this yesterday, and we have a funny feeling that because they saw us, right? And we moved up to the driveway where you couldn't see it. There was a different energy. And I wonder if we realize how powerful that energy is. I wonder if we only knew the outcome that you're talking about, that it's not such a far reach for us. I wonder if we really, really, really soaked this up today and took in your words and understood how we could live a life full of flow. I wonder how much we could transform the energy of the world. Because you see, positivity and kindness is contagious. Now, I get teased a lot, Dr. Vic, about this. Okay? So you come on, I call you Dr. Vic, you call me Dr. Pat, but I'm also known as Pollyanna Patty. I'm called Dr. Positivity, and then people laugh. They laugh. They're like, ah. And I'm thinking, but I have my down days too. How do we capture this so that we can stand I like that, Anna, we could stand a fighting chance of coming out on the flow side, right? Yeah. Because you're right about one thing. Man, is there some stuff we could be plugging into right now to cause us more resentments than of elephants got ticks. Uh-oh. Little quote from my mama.
Okay. Wow. I think this is where a lot of people get uncomfortable in this type of conversation, because we need to bring in a spiritual aspect. And I'm not talking
let's get uncomfortable. Come on.
And I'm not talking
Come on, Dr. Vic. Let's get uncomfortable.
Or something like that, but it is how you energize yourself. Yeah. What is your source of choice? And I don't care whether you're Muslim or Sikh or Christian, whatever, or maybe a naturalistic type religion, whatever religion or non-religion you subscribe to, there is a force out there that we have to acknowledge. And that force that's out there, if you like Star Wars, the movie, maybe you know the sentence, "May the force be with you." How can we be with this force? That's the spiritual aspect of the energy paradigm. That is where we draw our energy from. And the deeper you go into a chosen practice, and you can ask people who have been doing this for decades, the more you step into a power form, a light, a force that gives you what you need to build your field. And I don't care. There are so many different avenues, so I don't care which one you choose. Find the one that works for you. But this is how we recharge. We don't recharge by other people yelling at us, right? That's how we get the same. More of the same doesn't work here. But you mentioned it before. A positive person can positively influence us because they give us energy. And I will tell you something. When I was in Dharamshala in India, and I was waiting for my appointment with the Dalai, His Holiness the Dalai Lama. He was sitting there and getting ready, and he had his security team around him and all his other monks. Yeah. And he looked at me, and I was standing 30, 40 feet away, and I got an energy wave from him that I have not felt like this before in my life.
Wow.
And it was a happiness, and I sent it right back to him. And you can feel that with people that resonate with you. There's like a energy shower going over you, and then it comes back up. It's like a wave.
Yeah.
And those are the people that you can sit with until the cows come home and talk. Why? Because you are in co-resonance to each other. And what you do is you lift each other up. And those conversations and those interaction and that collaboration also in organizations is so energetic and fruitful and positive that you can work the entire day and you're not even tired when you get home.
Yeah.
That is the flow part of it. And that is when the tone is on, what I'm calling. The tone is positive, it jives, it works. It goes hand in hand. And it's the person, when you talk to them, you have this feeling, gosh, I think I've known them for all of my life, even if you met them.
Yeah.
That is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and you know what you're talking about is a common thread in so much of our lives these days. And yet what you're doing is you're helping people understand how to capture, you know, this force, how to capture this energy. And I want to talk about this when we come back, because there are so many ways we've seen the manipulation of energy, and of course I think you referenced the Force from the famous Star Wars.
Yes.
But there are several sides to energy, and we should be aware of the upside down side of this. When we come back, we'll be talking about the energy principle of do no harm. But do no harm doesn't mean we don't do action. So when we come back, we'll talk about that with Dr. Vic. Stay tuned, everybody. We'll be right back. Yeah, yippee skippy to that, baby. We're not done yet. Some of us are out here to educate and inspire. This year, 2020, is the year we gotta show me the money in the cash flow. I'm Dr. Pat. This is the Dr. Pat Show. This is Talk Radio to Thrive By.
Visit thedrpatshow.com. Get empowered on transformationtalkradio.com.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Energy Paradigm. Dr. Vic and I get to really explore this and see what it is we could know, what it is we could do in our lives, not just to save our lives, make it better, but literally transform things. And, you know, we don't think sometimes we have an impact or an effect on other people, but we do. Dr. Vic, thank you for joining me here today. We are really We're drilling down into the elements of the energy paradigm that you've created. But there's something interesting you talk about, and that's the first energetic principle, do no harm. What does that come to mean with you? The world really is from when people think about the world, they think about it being upside down. Other people that look at the world think about it's been upside down for a number of years now. And so let's talk about this idea of being hit with massive amounts of energy, some of it friction related, others. But what does that do no harm mean?
So do no harm is one of the energetic principles that we at the Energy Paradigm work with. And do no harm, if we say harm in colloquial language, it means you don't harm anybody else. For me and for the Energy Paradigm, we need to widen the scope of this because it also means do not harm yourself. And we are masters at harming ourselves because we don't know what we're dealing with. The first step to understand how not to harm yourself is understand what am I made out of. And I'm talking not the flesh and body part, but I'm talking about the energetic setup.
Yeah.
What is the energetic blueprint that I have been given that I'm working with? And here comes my experience of decades of interviewing and profiling people. And you know, if you use, and we talked about this last time, if you use classic assessment systems, you're boxing people. You're putting them into boxes and you say, okay, you are like this and you are like that, and that's why you're going to react like this in the future, and that's why you cannot have this job. And I'm saying this is not right. Everybody, from my experience, is different. and everybody brings a set of energy to their job and to their life and to their interactions and to their relationships and to everything they do. And we need to understand how these energies function and what they do. And if we don't do that, the first person that we create collateral with is ourselves. Because if I go against my inner grain every single day, I am rubbing so hard against my true self, the person I'm supposed to be. I'm creating inner dissonance. And guess what happens if I create inner dissonance? It becomes a normal for me. It becomes my modus operandi, the way how I am. And if I'm torn and dissonant and in friction inside, guess what I do? I replicate this in my relationships. I replicate this in my interaction. I replicated how I drive my car. I replicated how I talk to people. I replicated how I collaborate or refuse to collaborate. I replicated when I honk at somebody in the street because I think they have wronged me. And that's why the real kindness and compassion that the do no harm principle advocates for starts at home. We need to become compassionate with ourselves. We need to become kind with ourselves, because every single day we tell ourselves, I'm not enough, I'm not good, I'm not worthy, I don't deserve this. That is the real detrimental stuff that's happening to us. That's the self-talk. And that we have learned often through external influences. It's our upbringing, it's our society, it's the teachers that we have encountered who, and I had my share. I mean, if I tell you my life story, one person after the other showed up in my life to tell me who I cannot be and what I cannot do. Until I broke totally down. And I said, This is not right. And that is where the do no harm principle starts, because if I believe all those things that I'm being told and I internalize them, I start repeating them. And if you look into the biological part of it, then I'm creating certain hormones in my body that are not good hormones. And my body becomes addicted to those hormones because that's the only thing I can feel. If the only thing I can feel is negative stuff, it's like the child that feels neglected and does bad things on purpose in order to feel something and in order to get some attention. And if you let this child progress to being an adult, that's exactly what happens then. I'm creating one bad thing after the other in my life because I crave to feel something. So why not shift this vicious circle into a positive circle and feel something good? And that starts here. It starts inside, and it starts with a decision. And the decision is, I want to feel uplifted. I want to feel my potential. I want to feel the light that I am. I want to feel the essence that is there. And once I can do that, then the do no harm automatically falls into place, because everybody who has a serious spiritual practice, who connects to the greater energy, to the big field that's out there, to the force, their heart opens automatically.
Yeah. And so when we think about this, Dr. Vic, too, is as we're looking at this and we're thinking about just something what we said before, we're having a sense of this connection to another being, right? We have a sense of the people whose energy we want to be part of and others that we don't. We get to carve out our own real pathway for ourselves.
Yes.
And I think this is, for a lot of people, this is the major breakthrough, on how to master the energy we carry with us in life. And some people will say the energy we carry with us in multiple lives, right?
Yes.
But we are at a place now where we have the power to rise up.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we have to make sure that we get the message out there that people do have that power.
Absolutely. And you mentioned something really, really important. And there's research that has been done in Europe that family trauma is inherited. It goes from one generation to the next. So a lot of the stuff that you're encountering in your life might actually not be your own. It has been given to you by your wonderful ancestors. And yes, there is a way how to break through this.
Yep.
And it doesn't come easy. In the paradigm model, I call it a quest. And with the quest, once you decide to venture on this quest, I'm going to heal myself, then comes the big dare. Yes, if you want to heal yourself, then there's a big mountain of stuff that you have to do. It's not only sitting there and praying, but there's some action that needs to follow. And what I'm advocating for is, as I said before, everybody brings a different energetic blueprint. Everybody brings a different setup. Everybody works out from a different platform of their energy state that they're in, which means there are different strokes for different folks, and there are different avenues for you how to tackle this and how you free yourself. In the end, the essence about the energy paradigm is how to become free, because once you are free, you are without any limits. You are without any boundaries. And you can unfold what you have come here to do. And that is something that I personally believe we all have a gift, we all have a talent, and we all have signed some sign of contract when we came into the physical plane and things that we have to do and to accomplish. And the energy paradigm gives you the way how to get there.
Yeah, wow. Dr. Vic, look, I know there's much more to come on this, because there is, this is your passion. This is where you are, connecting, this force that we do have available to us. Everybody's got it. And I think, when we talk about other ways of looking at ourselves, whether it's through personality or some other form, we don't have access to everything according to those models. They put us in a box. But when we're talking about energy, we can move forward to move ourselves energetically from here to here. Yeah. And we just have to know how. Thank you for today. I'd like to know what's your personal message? What would you like to leave us with today? And where do we go from here?
Right now we are living in this, what I call COVID craziness. And what I'm seeing is so many people, especially on social media, who are scared for their life and who engage in hate speech and maybe don't even realize what energies they're putting out there. There's a wonderful quote of Paul Selig: "You cannot be of the light and hold another in darkness." If you go out and use hate speech to put people into a dark place, you're right there with them. That's how energy works. So have some kindness, have some compassion, do no harm, because if you put them out of the cave, of the black cave, and back into the light, you will also go back into the light. Cut people some slack, because then they will cut you some slack. I think that's where we need to go from here.
Awesome. Dr. Vic, thank you so much. Again, remind people how they can find out more about you.
TheEnergyParadigm.com, The Energy Paradigm on Facebook, and The Energy Paradigm on Instagram. Please contact us.
I love it. Dr. Vic, thank you so much. I look forward to the next time. For those of you out there, remember this: when we are talking about energy, we're talking about something that we have infinite control over for ourselves. Infinite, beyond anything that you can imagine. You know, when people discover the universe's makings and aspects of it, you know, there is something that each of us can tap into. And the question really is, you know, what do we need to know? How do we need to know it? And what do we do after we do know it? And that's what the energy paradigm's about. It's not something you need to wait for or work for today. You can shift now. Thank you for tuning us in and turning us on. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to the Energy Paradigm Show, where we unlock the magic of life on transformationtalkradio.com. Visit theenergyparadigm.com and schedule time with Dr. Vic to learn how to run your life with energy and not let energy run your life. See you next time on the Energy Paradigm Show.
The views expressed on this program are those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of KKNW, its management, or other advertisers. Contests are the responsibility of the host of this program and not KKNW. This is Alternative Talk 1150 AM, KKNW Seattle, and KNUC 98.9 HD3 Seattle.
Happy Wednesday, Eric Ryder here with you on KKNW. Right now, 71 degrees.